I'm live. Hi, everybody. My name is Mia, and I am a 32-year-old woman who is interested in telling YouTube my story to help people create awareness towards eating disorders and realize you're not alone. In addition to people try to find recovery, because I know there's so many people out there that still struggle, men, women, children, older adults, you name it. And a lot of the people that have an eating disorder, you might not even think they look like they have an eating disorder, but they could. So my story began. I believe I was really um, obsessed with food as a child, mostly sugar. I remember eating um, cereal, like non-sugary cereal, like Special K, and putting a spoonful of sugar on the cereal every time I had a bite. And or I would have my grandma would make these pumpkin bars that were so good. And she would or my mom would make them too. And I would have one square, go down to the basement and eat it. And then right away, I would go back up to have another square. And I'd probably have like 6 squares. Um, I also remember going to friends' houses and um, them having like a candy drawer. And I never had that as a child. And so I would like have something and then I'd want more. Um, and I'd always be like, "Can we have more? Like, can we have more candy or, whatever we were eating?" So, those were some examples. And I always felt really less than other people. I grew up in a town in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where it was, I don't know, like hoity toity, a lot of wealthy people, and everybody got good grades, I felt, and everybody had, great clothes from Gap and Abercrombie, and maybe I didn't have that. So a lot of compare and despair. And I was a gymnast from like 5 years old until I graduated college or high school. I didn't do it in college. I wasn't that good. But I was decent. And a lot of the girls on the team were pretty skinny. And my grades in high school were not that good, but like I managed. I was just very average. And I just felt like everybody else had really good grades. Everybody else had really good ACT scores, and just compare and despair and not feeling really good about myself at all. Then, senior year, I don't remember why exactly, but I just started like really wanting to lose weight. And I definitely had loading. Um, Sorry. Oh boy. Just want to make sure this is working. And so what was I saying? There was so I had a desire to lose weight. And I had had that desire too, but I really wouldn't do much about it because like I couldn't control myself with food. I didn't really know what I had to do. But I started severely restricting. Restricting for me looked like having a bite of an apple, and then that was my breakfast, just that bite. And then for lunch, I would have like a bite of an apple, a bite of a carrot, and like a bite of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that my mom would make me, and then the rest in the garbage. And I lost weight like really quickly. Um, but then my body was like, wait, I'm hungry. And Before that, though, I was started getting attention from boys, which I hadn't had, and, like, I got asked to the prom twice, which I was like, "That's I'm feeling pretty good about myself." Um, but really I wasn't because I was really kind of not doing so well mentally because I was starving myself. So, I then um, lose a good amount of weight and I start to crave a lot of food. Um, Foods, binge foods like um, um, cookies, candies, bread, because I kind of cut out bread. And I was, I started binging. And then I remember my first time I threw up, I had chili, like a normal amount, but I threw up um, at my house after I ate the chili because I felt like I was going to gain weight by this chili. And then I proceeded to throw up, binge throw up, restrict until my friend told my mom, like, "Hey, Mia wants to tell you something." And ended up telling my mom I was throwing up and restricting my food. So then my parents brought me to a therapist, and he was helpful. But you know, I didn't get what I needed all no, I guess I wasn't like I probably got what I needed, but I wasn't ready to listen to it. And I didn't really know what, they were trying to do. So they put me in an intensive outpatient program. It was like 3 days a week, and I would have it's probably like 3 till 8 p.m. maybe or 5 to 8. I don't remember. But I would have dinner, and the dinner would look like, pasta, a protein, vegetables, and like juice or milk, which like, whoa, I wasn't used to that. But like I ate it and I was like kind of feeling like the urge to binge, but like not wouldn't. But I think that intensive outpatient program lasted for like a summer, and then I went to college. Um and I just started binging again. And I also got an Adderall. I got a prescription to Adderall because I was 18 and I got this new doctor and she was like, "What's going on? Is there anything you need?" And I was like, "Yeah, I really struggle with um focusing." And she was like, "Oh, well, we'll just give you Adderall." Like, and she was a primary care doctor. No testing was involved, nothing. She just wrote this prescription like easy. Um so I got on that and that was a blessing because it really helped me focus in school. And I started like feeling better about myself in that way, like feeling like, okay, like I'm not so, I'm not so dumb. I'm getting good grades compared to wife spray where I felt not, or from where I'm from, where I didn't feel smart. And looking back, it's like smart is so there's so many different types of smart, and if you're school smart, that doesn't mean like you're superior to another person. And when you're working in a job, um, not all jobs require you to be like that type of school smart where you get 4.0s and 37s on your ACT, but that's what I thought. So I was on um let's see here. I started, going to these support groups for eating disorders, and it was like once a week, and it was helpful just to feel not alone, but like nothing positive was happening from them. And I was then transferred to another school, UW Madison, and I just was binge drinking a lot, and I was not doing well. I also got on like 60 milligrams of Prozac. I was on Abilify. Um, but nothing like I was still binging. I remember I was on the phone with a psychiatrist and I was like, "Yeah, I'm still binging and purging." And she's like, "Oh, okay, well, increase the dose." Um, so sorry, I'm looking at my dog. Um, so so I just tapered off of those without a doctor. And I was you know, I think my binging and purging got a little bit better, but not much. I was still really struggling. And I was basically binging and purging incessantly from like 21 years old and in addition to before that, but like college until 27 years old. I moved to Los Angeles at 27, I think, or 28, and I was able to get a therapist because my binging was, like, out of control. I would go from, like, Beverly Hills to where I lived by the airport, and I would just stop from, like, place to place to place, and I was purging also, but not as much, it was more binging. I felt really out of control, like, my life was very unmanageable, and, and then I went to this Easter, um like, celebration, and I met a therapist there, and I reached out to him, and he was like, "Have you ever been to a 12-step program?" And I was like, "No, not really." But the truth is I had been to an Overeaters Anonymous in Wisconsin, but it just wasn't, like, how they are in LA. And I went to, he said, I want you to go to a meeting," and I went to a meeting, and it was in Santa Monica, and it was just I felt amazing because I didn't feel alone. I didn't feel alone because there were like 30 other people in there feeling the same, saying exactly what I felt about food and whatever. Um, and then I got a sponsor and I started working the steps and I would send my sponsor my food and she was like, you know, you're restricting. So she emailed me back and she'd be like, "Have some bread for breakfast." And at this point, I was eating like egg whites, maybe one egg yolk, um, and like spinach, and then binging later in the day. And then you know, slowly gained trust in myself to stop the binging. And it was a messy experience. I was also like over exercising at this time because I just so badly wanted that like perfect body because I thought that would make me happy. And I was basically going to meetings like 5 days per week in LA in person, and it helped me so much to not feel alone. I feel like if I didn't have that, I would have left Los Angeles because I was like, not happy, you know? And I was in an eating disorder. So then I go to OA, and I start to get recovery within like 30 days. And I am just like loving OA. And OA is an Overeaters Anonymous. And so then now I've been in program for 4.5 years. And I've been, well, more than 4.5 years, but I've been abstinent from binging and purging for 4.5 years. And I just thank God that I found Overeaters Anonymous because it changed my life. Um, so that's all today. Thanks so much for hearing me out. If you have questions, feel free to send them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. And also, I'm not perfect. I still overeat sometimes, but I'm not binging and purging. That's a miracle.